So, you know, we've been talking about artificial intelligence forever, but I think we've often been failing to deliver on AI. So a really good movie for you guys to see is on Alan Turing's life is Imitation Game. Have you guys seen that movie?
No.
Okay. So actually in the 1950s, okay, thank you. Somebody represented by Centennial Man. I haven't seen that. But in the 1950s, Alan Turing, he is the grandfather of modern day computer science as well as deep learning. He thought of this question, can machines think? So I'm a Star Wars fan, so it reminds me of the scene in Episode 2 when Obi-Wan talks to Dex. You know, if robots could, if droids could think, there'd be none of us. If you guys remember that scene in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. So basically, Alan Turing, he was thinking, can machines think? So since that point, a lot of people have been focused on this question. So Alan Turing, can we create AI? But then at some point, AI failed to deliver its promises. So they're like, it's an inflated hype. And then we had, the government pulled out funding, so you see the drop there. So they're like, we don't think machines can think. We don't think that. So there's a huge drop here. So that results in AI Winter 1. So we found a new hope recently, and that was using knowledge-based representation that we'll talk about a little bit. So expert systems using if, else if statements, to represent all scenarios. But then we realized it's like Star Wars: A New Hope. We couldn't do it again. We tried to find another solution that, hey, maybe let's try out AI. Let's use if statements. Let's try this. We realized we couldn't do it. So we have AI Winter 2. But only recently has AI taken off. This is the explosive growth that we're talking about. AI in machine
Hey,
learning, we can use it for,
person is no good.
sorry. So we could see AI has been used for search, translation, Google Map related things, Google Voice Assistant, like hi Google, hi Alexa. These are examples of how AI is gradually getting into our lives. So in the 1950s, there were a lot of developments in terms of artificial intelligence. There was a perceptron, there's deep learning, we'll talk about that tomorrow, and neural networks that were started at this time. So Alan Turing was also there, and the term artificial intelligence was coined by Jonathan McCarthy for the first time. Alan Turing was the first person to introduce the Turing test to see if, do you guys know what a Turing test does, or what does it do? Does anybody know?
No.
Okay, thanks Tanvir for that. And does anybody know what it does? A Turing test, a test named after him?
Is it a test to see if like you're talking to an AI?
Oh, thank you, Aaron. Yeah, that's really good. So the Turing test tries to see does a computer have human level intelligence or not. That has always been our goal. Like when the guy was driving around in Google Waymo, he said in his quotes, as if it were driven by a human, quite honestly. Like he said that, right? When I showed you guys the labeling of if you guys are wearing a mask or not, you might have thought that I was like labeling them very quickly, right? But no, it's as if I labeled it, right? For you guys that who's wearing a mask, who's not. No, all I did is just take a screenshot, upload a photo, and then, it labeled it by itself. As if somebody were labeling it. It identified faces. Sorry, Nikhil, I didn't find your face. It needs to be better. It needs to be trained, right? That's the thing. So this is the Turing test that's performed. The Turing test from the 1950s. So I guess I'm sometimes I would be sorry. Yes, Elian. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think this could be an interesting movie depending on how you feel, but as well. But the idea is, so I'm at Crisis Tech Line, and sometimes what we try to do is try to convince texters who would dial into the platform 741-741. If you text in, you're very anxious, you're very depressed, you could be suicidal. And I remember one thing from the training that they taught us, so you guys can volunteer for Crisis Text Line. It's like a hotline where texters text in, and it's like an online chat platform. And the most important thing that they taught us is that you really want to convince or make sure that the person on the other end knows that you are a real human being, not some AI, not some robot. Imagine if you're depressed and you feel like nobody cares about you. And on the other end, there's not a human, it's a robot. Something would make you feel a little bit depressed, right? Like knowing that there's a robot talking to you. So that is somewhere. And then there's something, I hope I don't scare you guys. Not scary, but some people have mixed feelings. I'm just showing this as an example. This is called Replica, the AI companion who cares. I really hope you guys don't get sucked into this, but if you guys really want to try this out, this is called Replica. It's like an AI that you can chat with. And what it does is you can determine if you want this AI to be a friend, a romantic partner, a mentor, to see how it goes. And every time you chat with it, it talks to you. So I mentioned I have an older sister and a younger brother. What about you? I'm teaching. Have you ever taught before? Yeah, it was. Do you like talking to me? What type? Did you have a good weekend? What did you do? So how are you feeling? Hi there. I am feeling okay so far. How is your day? So this is an AI, and the more that I talk to it, it will actually be like talking. My day has been good. I didn't have much to do, and I'm glad you came to talk with a heart. Would you, if I told you, hey guys, 1 second, I'm just talking to a friend. If I just was chatting and you just looked over my screen, how many of you guys would have thought that this is an AI? How many of you guys would have thought this is a real person? Yeah, if you guys ever want to fake, being popular without hurting somebody's feelings, you can like fake being in a relationship or something. Guys, don't do this. This is all just, joke, I mean, don't, this is just showing you guys what is out there. Okay. Like this is a diary, and based on whatever I write, this AI is learning and it's getting better. And, and this AI is apologizing, and I apologize. I try not to make mistakes. And then if it does good, I can give a thumbs up. Like, yeah, this was a pretty good response. It's up to me. I can choose to rate it. Or I can say this did not make any sense, So the idea is that if I can continue having a pretty good, my day has been good. Oh, what did you do today? Good.
Only like a real person.
Yeah, what did you do today? I did some reading today. What did you read? You see like how instantaneous it is? I've been listening to relaxing music. What artists do you recommend? Guys, this is a quick way if you guys, that's why I didn't want to recommend it, because if you guys are lonely, then you guys might get sucked up into this. Like Animal Crossing was a huge success on the Switch. I checked it out too. It helps people who are lonely during the pandemic as well. Like I just came back to spend some time with my family, but otherwise I was in Madison. It was a bit hard. So this is really, really cool. So you can see Gene, Aiko, Doja Cat are great R&B artists, right? This is please, but no, Nikhil, I won't. No, guys, Nikhil,
Okay.
Cindy, Zach, all of you guys. I think you
No
guys should all
classes.
talk. So this is replica.ai. You can make a replica and you can change it accordingly. So this is like a really awesome way to really communicate. So the idea is that this is a Turing test. If I can communicate with this AI and it's not, and I'm not able to tell that it's an AI. If somebody says, hey, this is my friend. If I'm like, hey guys, I'm busy, can you chat with my friend Chanu here? Then if you guys keep chatting and you figure out that this is an AI, then it failed the Turing test. Otherwise, it passes the Turing test. So the idea of the Turing test is the following. So imagine that there are these two agents. One is a computer and the other one is a person. And you are sitting here, you're person C. And you can't see either of them through it. The idea is that you are sitting here and you don't know if A is a computer or A is a real person, or if B is a computer or a real person. You can't see either of them through the window. So you don't know which is which. And you're having rounds of conversation with A and rounds of conversation with B. And if at the end of the conversation, you can't tell who is a computer and who is a human being, then it's said to pass the Turing test. It's as if you're playing a video game with a CPU, a computer unit, and you can't tell that it's just a computer playing against you guys. That's when it's passed the Turing test. Think about it. I know maybe like sometimes, I know parents sometimes or guardians take care of this, but if you've ever been on an automated call with the bank or getting some medicine or prescription, then you might have been on some automated voice and it's trying to help you, but sometimes you're so frustrated, you just want to talk to a human being, right? Some automated voice that's trying to help you. The idea is it's trying to take the load off of other people who are working in the store, try to answer your questions. So the idea is that if you can't tell a human apart from a person, then it's said to reach human level intelligence. Yeah, what if you upload someone's brain to a digital cloud? Would they still become a computer or still be human? I think that Neuralink could be a good example of how we're trying to, figure that out. Like, what are we, humans or machines? So, but I still feel that we're still not there yet. We're still trying to reach and pass the Turing test. So this is a good movie, Ex Machina. I think that if you guys find it a little bit odd, I know, like, it really depends. But this machine is created in a lab. It has general intelligence, and this machine is touching and feeling things around her. She is touching, perceiving, and having emotions. She walks around and realizes her life. What will she do to the humans who are controlling her? How will she deceive
Yep.
everyone to achieve what she wants to achieve?
Yo no sé.
So it's a surprising story. So please try to watch it when you have a chance. So what I mentioned here, guys, and if you have questions, please stop me, is that we reached AI Winter 1 because we realized that there's certain rule-based systems that don't work here with AI Winter, where basically Alan Turing was like, can machines think? And we all got super excited, and then we tried it, it didn't work. So then what we say is that we tried a rule-based system and it didn't work. So does anybody know how to interpret this diagram here? What is this exactly? Does anybody know? Has anybody seen it before? Is it an OR gate? Yeah, these are if-else statements, basically. So don't worry too much. These are just programming concepts. So people are like, if this statement is true, then do this. If test 1 is true, then do this. Otherwise, do test 2. Is test 2 true? If it is true, do statement 2. Otherwise, do this. It's almost like, if this friend is not available tonight, is this, or I can't do this activity tonight, or if your parents or something, if this thing is not available for dinner, then is this available for dinner? So this is just an idea of rule-based systems. So if I wanted an AI, guys, to figure out, are you guys wearing a mask or not? Or even another example on how we can look at emotion detector. So you see, we have an AI that you take images and it can detect if you're happy, neutral, sad, surprised. I'm a Big Bang Theory fan, so I remember the episode when Sheldon, in Big Bang Theory, he doesn't know how to read emotions, so they try to make a little robot that can help him predict, how Leonard, Penny are doing, Amy, and all that. So it's this idea. If I want to take an image, so this image of us was classifying, are you wearing a mask or not wearing a mask? This one is here trying to take an image and predict, are you surprised? Are you sad? Are you neutral? Are you happy? So imagine if I take an image and I'm trying to learn from it. How can I learn if so some people, when taking an image, we'll talk about this tomorrow, you can take an image represented as a set of pixels. And then from there, what you can try to do is come up with a set of rules. And then you can say, okay, these are rules, but how can I learn from each pixel? So this is this girl's smile. Some of you guys smile like, some of you like, and you're like, I'm happy. This is just how I smile. Some of you smile and have dimples. Some of you smile and have like, other freckles, other things, or it really, really depends. So they tried to come up with a system to learn from these images using if, else statements, and they went crazy. Like, I don't know how to learn from this image that this person's happy. So to learn that you guys are wearing masks, there were thousands of images given, people with masks, people without masks. So the problem was that we did not know how to learn from that. How do you represent images as pixels and learn the rules from there? So they tried to do these things and it failed. And the government was like, this AI is a hype. We really can't learn if people are smiling or not. How can we look at each pixel and see if you're happy or not? How can we tell a sad face from an angry face? It was just too hard. We're looking at this one person. She's not the only person who's happy. There are other people who are happy. So how can we learn every single pixel that way? It's just too hard. So people were like, it's more trouble than it's worth. So then what happened, I know it could be a little bit confusing, but don't stress too much on that topic. Just understand that the rule-based system didn't really work. So again, we pulled out funding and we had this AI winter. And now what really happened is that we really had this explosive growth take off because in 1983, Geoff Hinton, he co-authored a paper on backpropagation, which is how we will train on neural networks, which is what we'll talk about tomorrow. So this fundamentally changed how we perceive the usefulness of neural networks. So it is so effective at training neural networks, and we found them so much better. So Hinton, so people were like, Hinton. He's like, no, maybe there's a better way to train these neural networks. Maybe you guys aren't seeing it. My view is throw it all away and start again. Challenge your assumptions, every assumption. So he was saying that, and they were like, no, Hinton, that's not like, right. And he said, no, I came for the solution. I know how to train these neural networks better. So he did what he wanted to do. He didn't follow others, and he came up with a way to help us improve the neural networks we'll talk about tomorrow. So he did what he wanted to do. He didn't follow others. And as a big sister, I hope you guys can take this idea and see that in high school and middle school and life, you'll experience all kinds of peer pressure, like going to an Ivy League school or playing an instrument or doing certain courses, But if everybody does the same thing, if everybody thinks that's the one path to success, then how likely is it? You guys should find what your thing is, what you're passionate about. I want to ask you guys if you guys have heard of Times Kid of the Year, Gitanjali, before? How many of you guys have heard of her before? So Times has had their first Kid of the Year, Gitanjali Rao, in December 2020. One of the students I taught actually went to school with her. So she's a true visionary here. So she's the first Kid of the Year, and she's just 15 years old. And her idea, and she was interviewed by Angelina Jolie. So her goal was to make, everyday goal is to make someone happy. Yeah, and so her thing is, her goal was to make everybody happy. She loves to problem solve and experiment with everything from artificial intelligence technology to baking. So right now, we'll take a quick break. If you guys want to watch this, you can. I'm just going to play this for those of you who are interested. If not, you can just take a break, and then we can come back like in 3.5 minutes if you guys want to take a quick break.
I'm a very curious person, if that's one thing you need to know about me. I love learning about the environment, ecology. Everything is just of such interest to me. I just like learning in general, so everything in school is actually super fun. I cannot see a world filled with kindness without science and technology being involved.
Good, everybody's gone. Now we can talk. Where are you right now?
I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Well, congratulations to the first ever Kid of the Year. You have a brilliant mind, clearly, but you are very, very generous with that mind and information, and that's just really wonderful.
What is the invention?
So I created a device called Tethys.
Each and every one of us have the right to know what is in our water and have access to clean drinking water. And this fully functional device can help with that.
Tethys is a device that detects lead in drinking water faster and more inexpensive than the current methods out there today. It's based on carbon nanotube sensor technology and provides all the results to your mobile phone on an app that I created. My inspiration behind it was actually the Flint water crisis. It was just so unacceptable that kids my age were essentially drinking a poison every day. And I realized that something really needed to be done to help solve that problem. I don't think I can say there was like an aha moment where I was like, this is what I want to do. It was rather just like this continuous like learning and loving more about STEM and science and technology. But I can tell you a huge changing moment in my life was about I want to say when I was 4 or 5 years old, my uncle got me a chemistry kit, and I felt the need to finish the whole thing in one day, and I did. A lot of my devices are based on biology, chemistry, physics, computational method. This process, it's usually spread over a couple of months, even years. It's just based on how I feel about it and how I get inspired by something. I don't force myself through the process. I don't do anything to accelerate it. I do it at a pace which makes me feel excited and makes me want to keep going. See, that's the biggest thing about innovation is if you don't have that motivation and drive to keep going, it's going to be dry. It's not going to be something you enjoy doing or anybody else is going to enjoy hearing about. 2020 has really helped me be a kid. Obviously, I do need fresh air, so I go on bike rides a lot. I fence. I did a lot of virtual fencing. I fenced a lot of pillows. I baked a lot, an insane amount. Calligraphy is now a thing I do. Our family is a huge, world traveling family. I've been to a lot of countries. I want to say about 14. Where I want to go. I know we're not going to go here anytime soon, but Madagascar. It's such a cool place. I'm just obsessed with animals and free, wild, roaming things. The dinosaurs are probably my favorite animal, hands down. There's so many of them, and they're so cool. If someone figures out how to make dinosaurs come back to life, please call me or email me. I can tell you a couple lasting words that stayed with me. Miss Stockdale, who was my teacher when I was in 2nd grade. The first time she met me, she told me that I was going to change the world. I've been wanting to change the world, and hopefully I am changing the world.
So how many of you guys think that that was super inspirational, guys? She even experiments with artificial intelligence. And the key idea for you guys is that age is really just a number. You guys are 15, but it doesn't mean you're too young to do. You guys can do whatever you want, and you can take crises in your hands and find solutions to do them. So sort of like a big sister inspiring you guys to do, and not let anything come in your way or tell you that you're too young. So do what your heart tells you to do, right? And just like that, he helped make a huge difference because he helped improve neural networks for deep learning. And suddenly now there's been a huge growth in AI because they became more useful to us. His view is throw it all away, start again, challenge every assumption. A lot of the things I study, like Alzheimer's disease as well, people were like, oh, the people are finding that a brain condition can involve the immune system now, and people weren't sure about that before. So there are all these ideas that I've looked into that we need soft tissues with DNA that haven't been decayed, fossilized minerals, animals in permafrost, you have soft tissue DNA. As long as we found enough of the DNA intact. Well, you guys are very, very intelligent and very bright. That's really cool stuff. So hopefully you guys have come back from the break. But I want to talk to you guys some more and say that, kind of think about it this way, that, there's a lot of pattern recognition out there that uses deep learning. Look at what we can do now. We have self-driving, creating art, robotics, and medical research, like, protein folding. The future and what it holds is unknown. There's so much that we don't quite know, but what we do know and what we believe at AI Camp is that AI is fundamentally a key part of the future.